This is Tony from the A Minute to Midnight show. I wonder how many of you realise that you, along with everyone else in the world, is being programmed systematically to accept world government, a cashless society, trans-humanism, artificial intelligence, biochipping, and a global socialist new world order that is run at the top by a select few elite. I believe that 2018 is going to be a very significant year in the furthering of the Illuminist elite agenda. But the programming began long ago. Take note of the snakes, the all-seeing eye and the pyramid, the dualism and as above, so below symbolism. These are all hallmarks of the occult Illuminist elite. I'm sure that many of you who are watching this will be well aware of how Hollywood and the entertainment industry has been pushing the agenda for a long time now. You can see much of it in evidence in Katy Perry's Dark Horse video. You can also see it in Taylor Swift's video here, Look What You Made Me Do. I'm going to show you how all these symbols connect with what is actually happening today. I have seen videos that explain the symbolism in Taylor Swift's video based on her life, but there is an agenda that goes much deeper than that, and she, probably like the rest of them in Hollywood, are being used as pawns and don't know the full extent of the game that they are playing. Here you can see a pyramid shape on the back wall. You can see women that appear to be subservient to the master at the top of 13 steps, and dualism with the two pandas. None of this is coincidence. It's all in the planning of the elite illuminists that run the entertainment industry. Yes, Taylor Swift was born on the 13th and turned 13 years old on Friday the 13th. The fact that her debut album went platinum in 13 weeks and her first number one song had a 13-second intro, the Illuminists will have used this because you will see that 13 is one of the numbers that comes up not only in Taylor Swift's videos but all sorts of other places when they are involved. You will find a representation of a crowd lifting up the whore of Babylon in many music videos and movies, and here you will see it coupled with a thinly veiled mocking of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ on a Taylor Swift tee. But Hollywood and the entertainment industry is only a tip on the iceberg when it comes to the symbolism. For example, here you can see the all-seeing eye and pyramid at the pinnacle of the Supreme Court in Israel, which was donated by the Rothschild family.
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room, it is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
But it's everywhere. Here we can see an eye in a traffic island on the Avenue of the Stars in Los Angeles. And it's right next to the Century Plaza Towers, which you can see are actually two pyramid-shaped buildings, tip to tip, in an as above so below formation, and between them there is a third pyramid which actually is more like a Masonic square and compass. You can see another eye there on the top of a third building as well. So here you go, very much a design, three pyramids as above so below with a Masonic compass and an eye, the all-seeing eye. So we have the pyramids associated with the all-seeing eye, and this is Century Plaza, the Century Plaza Towers in Los Angeles. The Twin Towers at Century Plaza were obviously inspired by the Illuminati or Masons, and they were designed by internationally acclaimed architect Minoru Yamasaki. Here we have a 1967 edition of Newsweek with a picture of David Rockefeller right where the Twin Towers would be, and note, new era in banking and 9/11 on his watch. The twin World Trade Center towers that were destroyed in September 2001 were also designed by Minoru Yamasaki. So it's pretty interesting to note that the same man that designed the Century City Plaza with its Masonic or Illuminati influence also designed the World Trade Center. The towers that were destroyed have been replaced by a building known as One World Trade Center. The final height of that skyscraper is 1,776 feet, a deliberate reference to the year when the United States Declaration of Independence was signed, but also take note that 1776 was the year that the Illuminati was founded. Now look at this. When viewed from a distance, the One World Trade Center appears to be like an obelisk, but when you view it from the ground directly below it, hello, it's shaped like a pyramid. And it gets even more interesting when we see the oculus below it.
We brought it back, we built it even higher than it was before.
So yes, they rebuilt the World Trade Center taller than before, only this time it's One World Trade Center, one world in mind. And what's the oculus I just mentioned? An oculus is an architectural term and it defines a round or eye-like opening or design. And this is exactly what we see in the World Trade Center Transport Hub oculus. The oculus was built to maximize the effect of autumnal equinox rays coinciding with the skylight opening on or around September 11th each year. So to put that another way, the eye of the oculus will be opened around about September 11th every year. And incidentally, by the way, the architect of the oculus, Santiago Calatrava, has designed other buildings that are shaped like eyes around the world as well. So what's with this eye and the pyramid and all this ancient Egyptian stuff anyway? Is it coincidence that there are 13 rows of steps on the pyramid on the American dollar, 13 letters in Annuit Coptus, and 13 characters in Novus Ordo Seclorum? The powers that be are followers of the ancient mystery schools in which dualism and as above so below and equals and opposites are central and are integral with their plans for the New World Order, a Luciferian New World Order ultimately. Now, it's important to note that, as well as Minoru Yamasaki, who was the architect of the Twin Towers, two big players in the driving force behind the building of the Twin Towers were David and Nelson Rockefeller, the brothers who championed their construction. David as chairman of the Chase Manhattan Bank and founder of the Downtown Lower Manhattan Association, and Nelson as the governor of New York. It was in 1960 that the Downtown Group recommended the development of the World Trade Center. The Twin Towers were actually nicknamed David and Nelson. David Rockefeller originated the idea for them, and Nelson, as governor of New York, signed the legislation that made it possible for them to be built. Now remember the 9/11 on David's watch? You be the judge whether it's coincidental or not. But it's certainly a big coincidence if it was. Now remember how the Twin Towers designed by Yamasaki were demolished by supposed Saudi terrorists with a leader by the name of Osama bin Laden. Now if we look at Yamazaki's original design, he had designed the Saudi Arabian International Airport along with the Saudi bin Laden group, and he incorporated features of Arabic architecture into the design of the World Trade Center. The plaza was modelled after Mecca, incorporating features found in Mecca. Yamasaki described the plaza as a Mecca, a great relief from the narrow streets and sidewalks of the Wall Street area. He also incorporated other Arabic features into the building design. So isn't that really interesting that the World Trade Center was supposedly designed with Arabic designs, and Yamazaki had associations with the Bin Laden group, and it was a Bin Laden that supposedly was the terrorist behind the destruction of the Twin Towers.
But this persistent window and this present window of opportunity during which a truly peaceful and interdependent world order might be built will not be here for too long. Already there are powerful forces at work that threaten to destroy all of our hopes and efforts to erect an enduring structure of global cooperation.
I'm here at a moment when the opportunity to build a constructive, peaceful world order is very great.
Do you notice there how in 1995 David Rockefeller used the term peaceful and interdependent world order? And then in 2017, Henry Kissinger is talking about a peaceful world order.
Ironically, however, the very innovations that are making possible dramatic improvements in human well-being are also creating new problems which raise the specter of an alarming and possibly catastrophic disaster to the biosphere we live in. The negative impact of population growth on all of our planetary ecosystems is becoming appallingly evident.
This is pieces of an interview with filmmaker Aaron Rousseau speaking with Alex Jones a few years ago. Aaron died not too long after this interview was aired.
So the ultimate goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one world government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers, where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is getting me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip. I met Rockefeller through a female attorney I knew. He's the one who told me 11 months before 9/11 ever happened that there was going to be an event. Never told me what the event was going to be, but there was going to be an event. And out of that event, we were going to invade Afghanistan to run pipelines from the Caspian Sea. We were going to invade Iraq, to take over the oil fields, establish a base in the Middle East, and make it all part of the New World Order. And we'd go after Chavez in Venezuela. He used to come to my house a lot. We'd have dinner, we'd talk. And he'd tell me about business investments that he'd get involved in, or they would help me with this business investment or that business investment. And was I interested in joining the Council on Foreign Relations? I used to say to him, what's the point of all this? You have all the money in the world you need. You have all the power you need. What's the point? What's the end goal? And he said the end goal is to get everybody chipped, to control the whole society, to have the bankers, the elite people, the bankers and some governor controlling the world.
So how do they intend to microchip everyone? Well, it's not likely to be something the size of a grain of rice because they have now nanochips and smart dust, which are the new means for the advancement of the human microchipping agenda. They are incredibly small. The word nano means they are 3 times order of magnitude smaller than micro. So nano means 1 billionth, while micro means 1 millionth. So while microchips are about the size of a grain of rice and they are measured in millimeters, nanochips are completely invisible to the human eye, and some are far smaller than a human hair. You may be familiar with what is known as the SMART agenda. For those who don't know, The SMART agenda is to create a giant electromagnetic grid or network that encompasses the whole Earth. Everything that moves basically should be equipped with some sort of sensor that connects it to the grid, and that is including the Internet of Things like all household appliances and products, food, item, animals, humans, etc. Well, smart dust is another name for these motes which will act as mini computers broadcasting and receiving. They are small wireless micro electromechanical sensors, according to this article in Nexus, and the SMART agenda is basically synonymous with Agenda 21 or Agenda 2030, which are United Nations agendas, which I'm sure you've all heard about. And the Internet of Things is going to be using the new 5G network to achieve its desired saturation levels. And of course, along with this, we are seeing increasing moves towards a global cashless society. Apple's contactless payment technology moving the world closer to a global cashless society, says this article in Global Research. Bill Gates said the key to this will be mobile phones. Already in the developing countries with the right regulatory framework, people are storing money digitally on their phones and using their phones to make purchases as if they were debit cards. And according to this Forbes article, a cardless, cashless society is our future. Visa Digital Chief predicts. Visa has been giving a lot of thought to what it calls a cashless future. It's also very interesting to note who the leaders are in this kind of technology with cashless society and biochipping, because it is Asian countries like China and India. And remember earlier the discussion about Nick Rockefeller, and he is involved in China. And of course in other videos I've shown how the Rothschild family is very much involved in China as well. Some time back I did an article on a picture in The Economist magazine, which is Rothschild owned, and it showed, I believe, that they predicted the fact that Indian Prime Minister Modi was going to ban the highest denominated notes in India, which were the 500 and 1,000 rupee notes, which wiped out around about 80% of the value of circulating cash in India. And while China is leading the world in moving towards a cashless society, it is India that is leading the world in the move towards biometric identification. According to this article in the Los Angeles Times, India is building a biometric database for 1.3 billion people, and enrollment is mandatory. Nearly 9 out of 10 Indians have already registered, and this was back in May 2017. Each assigned a unique 12-digit number that serves as a digital identity that can be verified with the scan of a thumb or an eye. Indians now need this to pay a number of taxes, collect pensions, and obtain certain welfare benefits. Indian Prime Minister Modi, who had originally criticised it as a political gimmick before he took office, has embraced the futuristic idea of an all-in-one digital identity. He pushed through a law last year that paved the way for a dramatic expansion of this, allowing government entities and private businesses to collect a lot of information into their database. And as I said earlier, smartphones are going to be playing an increasing role in this move towards a cashless society. According to a Zenith mobile advertising forecast, in 2018, 66% of individuals in 52 key countries will own a smartphone. So that's a big increase over 2017, which was only 63%. But I think the most interesting thing is that the highest number of smartphone users will be in China with 1.3 billion, followed by India in second place with 530 million, and the US is third with 320 million smartphone users. The Maldives, however, have just introduced a very innovative type of ID card that can be used for payments but also serves as a national ID card, driver's license, health card, insurance card, and a passport, all in one card called Passport Card. This card replaces all other cards, and it was developed by a German company called Dermalog, and it contains all 10 fingerprints for secure identification, all in that card. So we're really moving very quickly towards Mark of the Beast technology. Dermalog also has a biometric solution for iris matching too. It can identify 8.5 million irises per second. So now we have the technology there to fulfill Revelation chapter 13, where no one can buy or sell without the mark of the beast.
See, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. This is the world that you know.
The programming of us through movies and entertainment has been going on a long time. It's not just something recent. Look at this 1927 movie, Metropolis. The symbolism is everywhere. Note again what I mentioned earlier, the Whore of Babylon being lifted up by a bunch of people subservient. In Metropolis we see the working class people being fed to Moloch, the god of human sacrifice, and take note that Moloch is depicted in a sphinx-like way in this movie. This is significant because in tradition the Sphinx is mythicized as a treacherous and merciless killer. People are killed and eaten by the ravenous monster that is a Sphinx. Remember in 2016 multiple people were killed or sacrificed in front of a Sphinx and a pyramid in Las Vegas. This is very Egyptian looking in this movie, and people are being fed to the machine, then basically marching to their death, and you can see the workings of the machine as they march, and they are being watched by Egyptian looking cone heads. It's pretty amazing when you think this is 1927 and we're seeing so much symbolism. We've got the inverted pentagram here. We've got a robot or artificial intelligence, the evil elite. We've got the as above so below because we have an upright pentagram to match the inverted one. We've got this whole trans-humanism thing going on here where we've got a human intelligence going into a robot. Reminds me of Saudi Arabia's robot Sophia. Look at this, we can see the robot being brought to life. And today we have a move towards transhumanism and artificial intelligence, and even putting chips into people's brains. And we have at this stage, hypothetical process of scanning mental states, including memories, and uploading them to a computer. It's called mind uploading. It hasn't happened yet, but the elite are definitely working towards this, and you'll see in this movie, Metropolis, in 1927, this was already being thought of. You see one of the main characters, Maria, giving the one-eye Illuminati signal, which you will find common in entertainment today, with the stars all over the place giving this signal. Also in the movie we see the number 13 coming up again with 13 candles, and notice the multiple crosses. And we have a winged sun disk as well, which is basically another ancient mystery school symbol representing Horus. Tie all this in with the 1988 Economist magazine cover seemingly predicting a global currency around 2018, and you will see that the puppet masters, the Illuminist puppet masters, have been working on this plan for a long time. When you have transhumanists like Ray Kurzweil having so much influence and on the cutting edge of so many different technologies, it's a scary thought where we're heading. He's employed by Google as a director of engineering, and he believes in what he calls spiritual machines, where humans can resurrect their minds and put them into supercomputers and basically live forever with incorruptible bodies. Kurzweil wrote, "The human species, along with computational technology it created, will be able to solve age-old problems and will be in a position to change the nature of mortality into a post-biological future." In other words, he's a human trying to reach immortality without God, which I see in the book of Revelation quite likely. Those who will seek death and will not be able to find it. This could be the very technology of the Mark of the Beast. Do you want to know the real attitude, the real hard attitude of these transhumanists? Well, here you go. Max Moore, who was born Max O'Connor in 1964, is a transhumanist. He is the president and CEO of Alcor Life Extension Foundation. He had this to say: God, being the well-documented sadist that he is, no doubt wanted to keep Lucifer around so he could punish him and try to get him back under his power. Probably what really happened was that Lucifer came to hate God's kingdom, his sadism, his demand for slavish conformity and obedience, his psychotic rage at any display of independent thinking and behaviour. Lucifer realised that he could not fully think for himself and could certainly not act on his independent thinking so long as he was under God's control. Therefore he left heaven, that terrible spiritual state ruled by the cosmic sadist Jehovah, and was accompanied by some of the angels. So folks, these transhumanists are Luciferians to the core, and that is the world that we're heading into more and more as 2018 gets underway. And this is why companies like Google censor Christian stuff. This is why Christians are being hated and will be hated more as the Mark of the Beast technology unfolds further. I'll leave you with this verse in Philippians 3:18 and 19. For many walk, of whom I have told you often, and now tell you even weeping, that they are the enemies of the cross of Christ, whose end is destruction, whose God is their belly, and whose glory is in their shame, who set their minds on earthly things. Visit our website, aminutetomidnight.com. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we do run A Minute to Midnight 100% by donations. We appreciate any help you can give us. On behalf of the A Minute to Midnight team, I want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.